One driveway can be the reason you carry forward someone's whole life work. I'm 15 years old. I just shoveled for my entire neighborhood, and I come to this last house. I'm 15, middle of winter, just me and my neighbor's icy driveway. I get to that moment when I wanted to quit, wanted to throw in the towel, but frankly, that wasn't in my DNA. It wasn't how my parents raised me. Jim saw that. So I continued shoveling for Jim that season, and when spring came, he told me that I passed his test. Apparently, he saw me show up for him more than anyone has in his life and offered me a job at NFAB. Apparently, I proved to him that not all Gen Z is lazy. Jim is the founder of NFAB, established in 1987, specializing in banking security equipment, designing and manufacturing. Jim is the eldest of 9, lost his mother at 15, and went to bed hungry more times than anyone should. Jim is the epitome of grit. He'd approach problems from angles that nobody else could see, and people call that being difficult. Though we were half a century apart, we both knew what it was like to be misunderstood. And I'm also very difficult. From the first day of working with him, there were bruises, burns, and yes, some stitches. But from the beginning, he treated me like I could handle it. And I could. Little did I know he was preparing me for much more than a driveway. So, as many of you know, I'm class of 2020, and we didn't get graduation or closure. We didn't get any closure, that's true. But what happened after that mattered more than any graduation ceremony could. I went off to college freshman year. I decided to study mechanical engineering. I was also a Division II athlete at the time. Jim would fly me back home when big orders hit. I'm 18, and the owner of a manufacturing company, far older than me, is trusting me to run production, needing me to. Not because of some pedigree, but because he knew I'd show up for him, like those driveways. After freshman year, I decided to transfer back home to school to finish up my degree. I had just lost 3 family members and wanted to continue my work with Jim. During that time, me and Jim worked together hand in hand. And I decided to add more to my plate and condense the remaining 3 years of school into 2. Looking back, I think I just couldn't sit still. We worked together so much, but obviously I had an academic career to attend to. So on the morning of my last fall semester, December 2022, I had 7 exams. I thought, okay, maybe this week, let's work at NFAB. On day 1, as fate would have it, I had 3 of the 7 exams on the same day, 9 hours in a row. As I was driving to school with a tight stomach, just kind of like right now, I got the call. Jim just had a severe stroke. Andrew, it doesn't look good. All of a sudden, a 36-year-old company just lost the nucleus of it. But everything Jim knew wasn't stuck in that hospital bed. It was already out in the walls, in the work, and in me. Yet, I still had to go into those exams like my brain belonged to me, even though we both know it didn't. After the longest day of my life, driving home, I felt everything and nothing at once, or that's how I try to describe it. And then I got another call. Jim. He's alive. As soon as I picked up the phone, he sounded frantic, forced. Before I could get a word out, he said, Andrew, John needs those 3 cameras. Andrew, get that prototype out to John. And pay the bill to National Grid. That's what legacy looks like. A responsibility so deep it outlasts the body carrying it. And that's where the story should end. But knowing Jim is very stubborn. Jim came back. After 4 weeks in the hospital, his first stop home wasn't home, it was the shop. But I would argue that it was home. That man came into the shop before he could even walk. He couldn't even move half of his body. For that next year, as I finished school, we did physical therapy together every single day, literally wiggling fingers and toes in between orders. My greatest achievement will never be on a resume. It was getting that man back on his 2 feet. Ultimately, it was time for him to pass the torch and retire once he healed. I could have orchestrated some sort of buyout right when Jim had the stroke. Quite frankly, it may have been easier for both of us. But I wanted him to meet me with that decision himself, with his dignity, and to be able to walk. So when we signed the dotted lines and I became the owner of the company, well, wait, I need to clarify something. Jim didn't give me the company, I bought it. That's what a lot of people still think, so I need to get the record straight. I think it was easier to buy a company because what Jim really left me was a legacy. And that legacy is a lot heavier than just another small business. So I'm 22. I just bought the company and now I own it. All of a sudden, this 37-year legacy is now on my young shoulders. Me, alone. A kind of alone that nobody tells you about. Jim retired and suddenly every decision was mine. And the only question lingered was, what did you not finish teaching me? I guess we'll find out. 15 on that driveway, 18 running production, 21 secret CEO/physical therapist, 22 business owner, 23 sleeping at the shop more nights than anyone would believe, and 24 on the stage right now. The thought in my head was never that I'm going to crush this. It was, this is going to crush me. I may be the only person in this world that can destroy a man's life's work with my own 2 bare hands. So I just carried it. I know a lot of you may think and know that I'm just an ADHD kid running around with high energy, but behind that is a weight inconceivable. It's not ambition at all, it's obligation. And obligation is far heavier than ambition will ever be, at least for me. But carrying a legacy doesn't mean it has to stay where it started. It means honoring its roots and taking it to new frontiers. NFAB is no longer just a banking company. We've recently expanded into 3 totally new verticals while staying true to what got us here. And just recently, I hired an engineer who happens to be my brother. Already that legacy is far bigger than me, just like Jim taught me. Legacy is a man on his deathbed, where his only thought is about the people counting on him. It's the terrifying realization when you realize that this story either continues through you or ends with you. And you decide. Not because you're ready. I don't think you'll ever be ready. Not because you're old enough or strong enough or wise enough or rich enough, but because you can't be the one person who let it all end. Legacy is not what you leave behind. That would be too easy. Legacy is what you get the next person to carry. And you answer that question every single day. Not on some stage when everyone's watching, but with the work that you do with your own 2 calloused hands. Rain or shine, sleet or snow. So when the next driveway finds you, and it will, whose legacy will you be willing to carry? Thank you.